The Greedy Merchant. The Market Square. The sun rose over the bustling market square of the ancient city of Arendelle, casting a golden glow over the cobblestone streets. Merchants from far and wide had set up their stalls, displaying an array of goods that ranged from exotic spices to intricate jewelry. The air was filled with the sounds of haggling, laughter, and the occasional bray of a donkey. Among the merchants was a man named Thaddeus Greaves, a well-known figure in the market. Thaddeus was a tall, imposing man with a sharp nose and even sharper eyes. His stall was always the most prominent, filled with the finest silks, the rarest spices, and the most exquisite jewelry. But what set Thaddeus apart from the other merchants was not the quality of his goods. It was his reputation. Thaddeus was known far and wide as the Greedy Merchant. He was a man who would stop at nothing to make a profit, even if it meant cheating his customers or undercutting his competitors. His prices were exorbitant, and his tactics were ruthless. But despite his reputation, people still flocked to his stall, drawn by the allure of his rare and beautiful wares. On this particular morning, Thaddeus was in high spirits. He had just acquired a new shipment of goods from a distant land, and he was eager to sell them at a premium. As he arranged his stall, he noticed a young woman approaching. She was dressed in simple clothes, but there was something about her that caught his attention. "Good morning, sir," the woman said, her voice soft but confident. "I am looking for a gift for my mother. Do you have anything special?" Thaddeus smiled, his eyes gleaming with opportunity. "Ah, a gift for your mother, you say? You've come to the right place. I have just the thing." He reached under the counter and pulled out a small, intricately carved wooden box. Inside was a necklace made of shimmering pearls, each one perfectly matched in size and color. "This," Thaddeus said, holding up the necklace, "is a once-in-a-lifetime piece. These pearls were harvested from the deepest parts of the ocean, and each one is said to bring good fortune to its wearer." The young woman's eyes widened in awe. "It's beautiful," she whispered. "How much is it?" Thaddeus named a price that was far beyond what the young woman could afford. Her face fell, and she shook her head. "I'm sorry, but I can't pay that much." Thaddeus's smile didn't waver. "Perhaps we can come to an arrangement," he said smoothly. "I am always willing to negotiate with a valued customer." The young woman hesitated, then nodded. "What kind of arrangement?" Thaddeus leaned in closer, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. "I have a proposition for you. If you can bring me a rare herb that grows only in the mountains, I will give you the necklace in exchange." The young woman's eyes lit up with hope. "What kind of herb?" Thaddeus described the herb in detail, knowing full well that it was nearly impossible to find. But the young woman, eager to please her mother, agreed to the deal. "Very well," Thaddeus said, handing her a small map. "The herb grows in this area. Bring it to me, and the necklace is yours." The young woman took the map and hurried off, determined to find the herb. Thaddeus watched her go, a satisfied smile on his face. He knew the chances of her finding the herb were slim, but he also knew that she would likely return with something else of value. Either way, he stood to profit. The Mountain Quest. The young woman, whose name was Ilara, set off on her journey with a heart full of determination. She followed the map Thaddeus had given her, venturing deep into the mountains. The terrain was rugged and treacherous, but Ilara was undeterred. She was driven by the thought of her mother's face lighting up with joy when she saw the beautiful necklace. After days of searching, Ilara finally found the herb Thaddeus had described. It was growing in a hidden grove, surrounded by towering cliffs and cascading waterfalls. The herb was as rare and beautiful as Thaddeus had said, with delicate silver leaves that shimmered in the sunlight. Ilara carefully harvested the herb, making sure to take only what she needed. She then began the long journey back to Arendelle, her heart filled with hope. When she finally arrived at the market square, she went straight to Thaddeus's stall. The merchant was busy haggling with a customer, but he looked up when he saw Ilara approaching. "Ah, you've returned," Thaddeus said, his eyes narrowing as he noticed the herb in her hand. "And you found the herb, I see." Ilara nodded, holding out the herb. "I've brought what you asked for. Now may I have the necklace?" Thaddeus took the herb and examined it closely. This is indeed the herb I requested, but I'm afraid the price has gone up." Ilara's heart sank. "What do you mean?" Thaddeus smiled, but there was no warmth in it. "You see, the value of this herb has increased since we last spoke. If you want the necklace, you'll need to bring me something else of equal value." Ilara felt a surge of anger and frustration. She had risked her life to find the herb, and now Thaddeus was moving the goalposts. But she knew she had no choice. She needed the necklace for her mother. "What else do you want?" she asked, her voice trembling with emotion. Thaddeus thought for a moment, then said, "Bring me a rare gemstone, one that is said to be found only in the caves of the Black Mountains. If you can find it, the necklace is yours." Ilara's heart sank even further. The Black Mountains were even more dangerous than the ones she had just returned from, but she knew she had to try. "Very well," she said, her voice steady despite her fear. "I will bring you the gemstone." Thaddeus nodded, a satisfied smile on his face. "I look forward to seeing you again." Ilara turned and left the market square, her heart heavy with the weight of her new quest. She knew the journey would be perilous, but she was determined to succeed. She would not let Thaddeus's greed stand in the way of her mother's happiness.